Everyone probably has felt lonely at some point in their life or will feel lonely. What do we actually mean when we describe feeling lonely? Even if we are introverted and we enjoy our own time, we can't get by just on our own. And if you imagine our ancestors hunting, defending territory, finding, building shelter, these things would have been so much more easily achieved in a group. So we are social, and that is embedded in our long survival story. In the modern world, a lot of people think that feeling connected to others is perhaps not that necessary. We can just pop over to a shop to buy some food. We don't need to arrange a whole hunt. But actually, we know more and more that loneliness increases your risk of heart disease, of having a stroke, of feeling depressed. And people who are lonely are twice as likely to develop Alzheimer's or another kind of dementia. So this is a very serious health challenge. There's a lot that we still need to do to understand what loneliness really looks like and feels like, and getting people to talk about it is a big part of that challenge.
Usually our focus is very much on human rights issues and social injustice. We notice that physical health and mental health and human connection are human rights just as much as any other human right. Having that collaboration with a researcher and learning about what they are passionate about and all of the different layers and facets that come with a topic is just fascinating. And so that sparks for us a lot of creativity. It was really important that as artists, we wouldn't just go in and extract. So we wanted to create this loop where we started from someone's experience and from their words and from their story. We couldn't be in one space together, of course, so we had to shift our thinking and find a new way of engaging with people in a meaningful way.
It was like talking to an old school friend. Literally, we just sat, we chatted, and before we knew it, an hour and a half had gone by.
There was this sort of pent-up need to just talk about how I felt.
For me, it brought emotions up that I knew I'd been feeling but felt ashamed to talk about.
In the process, we will ask them, what for you is the shape of loneliness? Where in the body do you feel loneliness? What's the color of loneliness, the sound of loneliness? What is the texture of loneliness? And all of a sudden they come up with those incredible images.
Everything was blurred, nothing made any sense to me, apart from my boom.
Because the whole thing feels like a vicious circle.
In my stomach, goes across my body.
Curl up in a ball and just sit in the corner of with the shower just blasting me down.
Tastes like
very dusty room with nothing in it.
We were blown away by the generosity of what people shared with us. I mean, we were complete strangers.
It was an exchange. It did become quite a moving experience. And that just escalated as those interviews were then transformed.
The creative process is to find little gems in what they're talking about and get it out in the music or texture or motif or rhythm sometimes.
We created the soundtracks, and from there we created choreographies. From there that was filmed, and we created videos. We were like, what do we call them? Because we don't want to just call them dance video and another dance video. We really want to give people a gift. As a creator, it was important for me to honor what people shared and not to just gloss over something, but to really dig deep into what does that mean.
At that time of my life, it was like I lived in a fishbowl. And I could see out and everything was blurred. Nothing made any sense to me, but I couldn't hear anything.
Wow. It's quite mad because it's everything that I explained. Do you know what I mean? And it's quite emotional to see it.
The atmosphere around it portrays exactly how I felt, and then to put in the art, which is the part that's beautiful about it, and then at the very end, the cleaning the record, which is a personal touch for myself. That's an escapism for me, is to put my records on. That just blew me away. I'm actually tempted to send a copy to my psychologist and say, this is what I've been trying to say to you.
It was really important for us as well not to just hear about the loneliness experience, but about the opposite as well, and how people transition, what are their mechanisms to transition from loneliness to. Some it was belonging, for others it was connectivity, for others it was community.
Watching my second gift, where it was all about me being in my kayak. 40 minutes after our conversation and me seeing that video gift, I slipped out of work, picked up my wetsuit, took it back to work, and as soon as I finished, I was in my truck and I was down to the river and I was kayaking for 7 miles. And they were both very, very inspiring pieces.
It felt almost like this creative cascade where the interview, the words inspired the music, inspired the movement, inspired the film, inspired the participant back.
Working with dancers was a really exciting creative opportunity here to not just get people talking about loneliness and taking what they might say and transforming it into a visual story, but also to showcase the power of dancing to bring people together.
It says it in the title, we wanted people to move together. For us to now create a project that exclusively lives on digital seemed inappropriate. And so we're like, okay, why don't we do a flash mob?
Through all kinds of experiments, myself and other researchers have established that there are really profound psychological and physiological effects to moving together, to doing the same thing at the same time, as happens in moments when you dance together.
I was really anxious to begin with when we got there, and I was like, I'm going to make a complete fool of myself, and oh my gosh, what if people know me? And then I thought, you know what, actually, I'm going to go and enjoy myself and have fun. And we were practicing all that night when we got home. we were all doing it then, weren't we?
The value of the project was in the detail and was in the time that we did spend, and especially the artists spent, working on the personal stories that people shared.
There's a multitude of opportunities and possibilities that this project could continue in. It's the gift that keeps on giving, and I'm excited.
To have the understanding from your team and from the interviews and to be involved in the process, to meet the other people that have done it, has sort of cemented with me that I don't need to get myself, I got the hairs are standing up on my neck, so I will apologise. I don't need to be where I was 2 years ago, because I can just now sit down and talk to somebody, but I've also now got an additional tool in my toolbox where I can go on YouTube and I can just say, just watch this with me for a minute. Do you know what I mean? And I think everybody should have an interview, full stop.